some time since I've been out rail fanning. Kind of getting behind on my rail fanning. Today I'm at Jenkinsburg. Thought I'd at least get this one sitting here, and maybe one coming from the other direction since he's sitting here waiting. Now would be a fine time to tell you one of my stories. I'll mute the auto traffic where it don't bother me so much. Yes, you're about to hear another one of my stories. Now that I'm an old man, I often look back to my younger years in a different light. Things that in those days didn't seem like much, I now realize the importance of how much those things made to me to make me a better man for having done them. So I will share this story with you in hopes some will enjoy hearing it, and perhaps remind you of some things you may have done that most likely made you a better person in your life. Besides, I just feel like telling the story. I now realize that as a boy I was quite the entrepreneur. The dictionary definition is someone who organizes a business venture and assumes the risk for it. But I think it just means when you want something, you figure out a way to get it by honest work and a bit of ingenuity. In other words, I was sometimes clever, original, and a little bit inventive about getting what I wanted. The setting for my story today is O'Galley, Florida. Sometime around 1960. I think I was around 12 years old. One of my viewers asked me the other day about the Western Auto store that was there at the time, and that prodded me into sharing this story. I have no idea if the store is still there or not, but at that time it was on Cypress Avenue and approximately 6 blocks away from where I lived. I did indeed have quite a sense of business and was constantly on the lookout to make money. Too bad I never developed the common sense to save more of it. A few examples come to mind. I saved money long enough to buy a throw net and then used it to catch mullet, sell them to the local bait and tackle shop that was at that time right where the O'Galley Causeway started. I doubt it even exists anymore. I wore out my dad's lawnmower cutting grass for people. When a hurricane came along occasionally, I would get out after the storm and hit the old people's houses to see if they wanted the excess debris and tree limbs and trash picked up that was left in its wake. I washed people's cars, provided they would meet my price. Around Christmas, I would climb a tree, collect some mistletoe, sell it by the handful. There were other endeavors I won't mention, but I will mention at least one more. One day I realized that there was money to be made delivering newspapers. The local newspaper was called the Melbourne Times. I finally located the guy in charge of the routes. Cornered him one day when he came around to drop off the newspapers in big bundles for area paper carriers to pick up and deliver. "Hey, mister, I want to be a paper boy and deliver newspapers." He looked at me kind of funny as if in deep thought. I'm sure he was thinking, this little squirt won't be able to handle it. He replied, "This area already has a paper boy, but I have an idea. I will give you 20 newspapers to sell. For every 5-cent paper you sell, 2 cents of it will be yours to keep. Tomorrow when I return here, you owe me 60 cents. If you don't sell them, you still owe me 60 cents. If you sell them all, you will have 40 cents left over to keep for yourself." I didn't have to think long as I was ready to tackle this financial liability. Little cash register bells were ringing in my head. Ka-ching, ka-ching. I could make money. Let's see, 5 days a week times 40 cents, that'd be $2 a week. He handed me 20 newspapers and threw in a special carry sack made of canvas with a shoulder strap to carry them in. I walked away feeling quite proud of myself. And he shouted, "Good luck, kid." But I'm sure he was thinking, that kid won't make it. I had very little luck selling them at first, stopping at various businesses and other places. It didn't do very good. I finally wound up downtown O'Galley. I hassled almost everyone who passed me to buy a paper. I even stood on the corner yelling, "Extra, extra, read all about it," and that worked pretty good. Soon I had them all sold. I did that for a couple weeks or so when the newspaper man said, A route in this area has opened up. Do you want it? So I became a full-time newspaper boy. It didn't take me long to learn the existing customers on my route, and I faithfully brought their papers every Monday through Friday afternoon, got up early every Sunday morning to deliver that edition well before time for church. I had to make it to church because I was an acolyte at St. John's Episcopal Church there. I'm sure that place is still there. One of my customers was the Western Auto Store. Every day I would admire this raving beauty. It was red and shiny and glistened in the store window. It was a Western Flyer bicycle. Had all the trimmings, including chrome accessories. I bet the only place you can find one of them bikes now is in a museum somewhere. One day I saw this advertisement to put things on layaway and pay for them on time. Once you get them paid for, you could take them away. I walked into Western Auto one afternoon and boldly told the man, "Hey, mister, I'm here to buy that bicycle, on layaway, of course." He was a bit taken back to have a customer of my caliber for sure. I dug in my pocket and handed him what I had. I think it was $6 or $8. "Now it's mine as soon as I get it paid, as soon as I pay the rest of it, right?" "Yep, it sure is, kid." A couple of weeks rolled by and I came by faithfully to pay a few dollars. I don't recall how much the bike cost, but it had to be around $40 or $50. And daily as I passed delivering my newspapers, I would stop and admire the bike. I suppose they were tired of seeing me hanging out there every day, because one day the man said, "Hey boy, get on your bicycle and go, and just bring me your money every week." Well, by then I had a lot of papers to deliver every day and was beginning to walk with a permanent crook in my shoulder from toting that big heavy bag of papers, so I was glad to get the bicycle. But I didn't leave Western Auto that day until I conned the man into installing a set of shiny twin baskets that mounted on the back, straddling the rear wheels. After that, delivering my papers got a lot easier. I would roll them up, put a rubber band around them so I could throw them to the houses when I zoomed by on my Western Flyer bicycle. I collected money for the papers from my customers once a week, 35 cents, because the Sunday edition cost a dime. I often took my dog in one basket and the papers in the other. I recall how I would put the kickstand down to balance the bike and tell Boots, was her name, Boots, "You sit there until I get back from collecting this person's money now." She got to where she expected to go with me every day and would bark if anyone got near my bike and my unguarded newspapers. To conclude my story, I would just say to today's young people, if you take anything at all away from my story, I'm delighted. Don't miss any opportunity to become an entrepreneur. You will be a better person for having done so. Thanks for listening, my friends.